Hello and welcome to today's edition of Tea with the Duchess. And you know how we do it on Tea with the Duchess? We always bring you the best guests ever. And today's no exception. I've got in the studio a wonderful lady called Tenny. And she's a singer, a jazz singer, and also a designer of House of Makeda. So welcome to Tea with the Duchess.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm very happy to be here and it's beautiful.
I know. I've got this special cake for you. I hope you're loving it.
I'm so happy. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. This is so cute.
I met you, I think, a few months ago.
Yeah, it was in January. Yeah, when I came to Voice of Africa FM for an interview with you.
And you know, I loved your stuff, and I'm like, wow, I really had to meet you.
Thank you.
You're obviously in London now, so I decided, you know what, we're gonna have to do this interview.
I'm so glad.
I can't let you go back without.
I'm actually gonna be around for a little longer.
A little bit longer.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fantastic. So, how did you start it off? I know you're a designer and you're also a singer. You know, it's like two different worlds apart. So
yeah, it's funny because, you know, I started designing because I'd always had a flair for fashion. I'd always, you know, since I was like 3 years old, I'd been into, you know, fashion. Yeah. But when I was about 21, I wanted to become a musician, but my parents, my dad in particular, was like, no, you can't do music, you can't do... So I thought, okay, well, I'll do fashion, you know, for now. Let me just, you know, start off doing fashion. And, you know, gradually I, you know, started designing clothes. It took me a long time to open my first boutique in Lagos. But at the side, I was doing music, you know, kind of secretively. You know, I was going off and doing rehearsals, you know, and I had a band and, you know, but it was difficult because, you know, when you're doing it in secret, you know, and you're not doing it with full support, it was a bit difficult. So it took a lot of time. You know, I would do music for maybe a few months and then leave it for 4 years and then come back and, you know, so it was a very, very long-winded process.
Yeah, I know. I was kind of like researching you, and you know, a lot of people kind of like liking you to Sade. Huh? How does that feel?
Oh, it feels wonderful. I mean, Sade, she's an icon. She's extremely unique. I don't think I'd ever be as good as her, but you know, I'm striving to at least emulate just a little bit of what she does. Her. You know, she's definitely one of my biggest inspirations.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I know your music, you call it Afro Soul. So what is Afro Soul?
Well, I'm also really inspired by Fela. So, you know, the Afro comes in with the soul, you know, it's really a strong Afro-beat influence. But of course the soul comes in. So it's a fusion, it's quite eclectic. You know, I have reggae in there, jazz, funk, you know, anything really. It's just, expression of all my influences in music.
Okay, and then let's talk about you as a designer.
Okay.
So what kind of clothes do you make?
Well, you know, kind of Afrocentric. I use a lot of African fabrics, not just Ankara, Ashoke.
Okay.
You know, there's mud print, there's, you know, mud cloth rather. There's all kinds of African fabrics that are not so common that, you know, I also use. But, you know, I also fuse the Western, you know, influence as well. So it's eclectic. It's something that I think everyone would be able to wear no matter where you're coming from, because I try to make things that are universal, that are timeless, simple, classic, you know, that you can wear and again and again and again years after, you know.
Okay, I'm looking at your hair, it's so beautiful. I actually try, I know a lot of people don't know this, but I actually try to grow my own locks.
Did you?
I'm so impatient.
It takes
it wasn't dropping, and I'm like, oh god, I just took it all off.
I mean, when I first started, mine was just like up. It was just sticking up like crazy, you know. But yeah, I don't know. I'd gone to a point where I was tired with everything else, so I just kind of hung in there, and then, you know, it gradually started dropping, and then with time it just became nice. So now, you know, it's part of me.
Wow. So what are you currently working on at the moment?
Well, I just released my debut album, Aphrodisiac, which is out on iTunes, Amazon, Spotify, and I'm just promoting that. I've been doing a lot of performances in Lagos, in Ghana, South Africa. Now I'm in London. I'm going to be in Australia in November. So I'm just going around, you know, promoting my album. Yeah.
So what kind of songs can we find in there? I know you said Aphrodisiac.
Yeah.
So it kind of gives me a little bit sense of what it's like,
very,
more like African infused music.
Yeah, it's African infused, but in a very subtle way.
Okay.
I mean, I have songs that are full out, you know, very African. Like I have a song called Lionheart that's like real Afro-beat Fela style. I have another song called Africa, which is, you know, full of percussion, you know, very, very African. But other songs are more jazzy.
Okay.
You know, there's some that is a bit more 60s soul. Yeah, so I have a lot of, you know, I'm really inspired by Indian music. So I have a couple of Indian, you know, percussion kind of thing in there. So yeah, it's quite, you know, eclectic.
Wow, I need to get that album then.
Oh, please do.
Is it on iTunes at the moment? Oh,
yeah, it's
fantastic.
out on iTunes.
Yeah, I need to come by it. So obviously I know you're here to promote music and but you cannot leave without talking about the evolution of Afro-beats.
Okay.
Because now Afrobeats is a lot more acceptable in terms of coming from obviously Africa, where we know Afrobeats in Africa, and that's what. But now, kind of like the West is embracing it more. How do you feel about that?
I think it's great. You know, like my little brother who's over there, he's always telling me about how he's hearing Fuso DG antenna on the radio, like, you know, like 3 times a day, even on mainstream radio. I think that's a great thing. You know, I think it's fantastic that, you know, it's going mainstream and people are accepting it. You know, you're hearing kids from all cultures on the bus singing P Square, Chop My Money. Yeah. You know, so it's incredible, you know, and I really want to be part of that movement in my own way, you know, because I think Afrobeats, it tends to be one certain kind of sound, and I think there's room for all of us. You know, there's room for different genres and styles within the Afrobeats movement. You know, and room for diversity. So that's what I'm trying to do, something a bit different.
Okay. Yeah. And obviously we know that some songs come out, or some types of music come out, like funky beats. It just came out, and after like a few months it just died. So do you think there's a future for Afrobeats, or do you think it's something that is just kind of like temporary and people can just rush in and just do quick and just...
Well, I think it's up to the musicians, the artists. I think, you know, we have to, you know, it's a challenge to make music that will, you know, stand the test of time. You know, music that, is good music, no matter if it's pop or whatever it is, just make good music. And I think, you know, if you make good music, it will stand the test of time for sure. You know, and I think we should all aim to do that, because we don't want to be a flash in a pan. We want to last in the industry, and, you know, we want the industry to grow.
Definitely. Yeah. So obviously you're a female
yes.
in Afrobeats. How is that? Because I know a lot of females who are in music or in arts. Mm-hmm. They're kind of like say that they have a lot more challenges than their male counterparts.
It's very difficult.
Yeah.
So I mean, I can understand now why my dad didn't really want me to go into music. It's very difficult. I mean, like I was hanging out with a few of my musician friends last week. People like Sheon Kuti, they work very hard. Moving around so much. He was at WOMAD, which is like a world music festival. On Friday, on Saturday he was in south of France. On Sunday he was in London at the Olympic Park for the Open East Festival. So I mean, it takes a lot of energy.
And you have to sacrifice. In Brussels, isn't it?
Yeah, he's in Brussels now. So it's a lot of sacrifice. That kind of lifestyle. Even now, I'm not sure. I'm thinking to myself, am I really ready to make this kind of sacrifice? Because I mean, relationships are very difficult to maintain a relationship when you're constantly moving around.
True.
But what can you do?
It's your calling, so you just have to just do it. So anyone watching you and obviously saying, oh, I really want to do this, what advice would you give them?
Well, I think, you have to do a lot of research. It's all about doing research, because it's through doing research that you can, learn enough to, choose the right path to go down and make yourself, stand out from the crowd and, create something that's unique. Because you really do have to have your own thing. You can't sound like everyone else. You don't really want to sound like everyone else.
Not at all.
So, you have to work very hard, be very dedicated, determined. Not everybody's going to like what you do, so you have to be able to have a thick skin, be able to take rejection, handle people ignoring you. At first, I couldn't handle people ignoring me and stuff. I would go off on Twitter, insult. But now, I'm a bit more professional now. Yeah.
I get what you mean. I know exactly what. Because obviously, it's harder for us, trying to kind of like in a man's world. Try to make a mark and make people see you.
You have to be aggressive.
But the funny thing is, they can see you, but they don't know whether you want it hard enough, because everyone just comes out, oh, I want to be an artist.
Yeah, exactly.
After a few months, they've dropped out. So you can't really blame people until they see the perseverance and they're like, that one's got something. And then they now start paying attention to you. So.
And you have to be so aggressive. I mean, promoting yourself, you know, it's not an easy thing. It's a constant thing, constant promotion. If you're going to make any impact, you have to be doing constant promotion, you know, getting yourself out there, networking, meeting the right people. You know, it's not an easy thing. I
know, definitely not.
And it also capital intensive.
Oh, yes.
You know, you have to look for money to go to the studio, you know, do all kinds of promotional things. Yeah, so it's hard work.
I know, but someone's got to do it, isn't it?
Yeah, someone's got to do it.
So, obviously, people watching this will be like, oh, we need to know more about you. So, can you tell us where we can find you? Website, Twitter, Facebook?
Yeah, okay. My website is tennymusic.org. My name is spelled Teni. My Twitter is Tenny. Everything is different, you know. It's better to have everything the same.
Same, yeah.
But for me, everything's different. My Twitter is Tenny Muse, Tenimuse, and my Facebook is Tenny Music, Teni Music. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, just Google me. You will see my videos on YouTube. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I like that video, Lion Hats. I just thought, you know, the whole Afro-beats, the whole dots. It was so nice.
I did that video was really like an ode to Fela. It was very, very, you know, old school Afro-beats with the makeup, the dancing. I had some of the original ep.30, which is Fela's band, dancers who also were dancing with me. So yeah, it was really, really great.
Wow, so you guys have to check it out.
Yeah,
definitely.
Please check it out.
Unfortunately, we've come to the end of the interview.
Thank you so much. I really enjoyed it.
And thank you for coming.
Thank you.
And I hope you need to bite into this cake. Of course. Are you on a diet?
Oh, no.
Oh, okay.
Diet, I have to finish that later.
Oh yeah, you do have to. You know, I just wanted you to buy it because it looks so pretty. People probably think it's a prop, but at least they can see
real. It's a real cake.
It's a real cake, yeah.
It's fresh too.
I know. Anyway, thank you very much for joining us today, and a massive, massive thank you to Tenny for joining us today.
Thank you.
I hope whatever you're doing, just keep checking this young lady out, because I know she's got so much coming out. But keep watching us on www.duchesstv.com, and we're going to have pictures of today. You know how lovely she looks. Pictures of today and all of our other guests on www.brianwoodphotographer.com. Stay blessed.